Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fan Behavior. I am Zoe here with Hannah again.
Hi.
It's been a week since we last recorded together. So, well, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I was going to say, is it only a week?
I
have no concept of
I know Hannah's been traveling so much for work.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's
yeah.
fine. It has, I was just saying before we started recording, it has made me understand the sacrifice and just amazing courage it takes to travel for, like, to work in F1 or something. It couldn't be me.
The amazing courage.
It does. It's a real
But as
commitment.
you pointed out, it is really nice that for the most part, they have their team kits. There's no thinking about clothes or, I mean, I guess there is to some degree, but that part of their life has been figured out for them.
Yes.
Okay, well, we have a lot to get into, so without further ado.
Yeah, so before we get into it, just wanted to let you know that this episode is brought to you by the Formula One Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix, the race that's an experience. Incredible food, stunning art, and epic entertainment. Grandstand tickets are still available. Go to f1miami.com or check out the link in the episode description and grab yours now.
We will be in Miami in T-minus 2 weeks.
Yep.
And we hope to see you all there as well. We'll be doing a meetup. And I think maybe next week we can do a Miami Q&A episode where we maybe answer some questions for anyone who's going for the first time or wants. I mean, we're no experts, but we have been one time, so we can offer at least our insight.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring sunscreen.
Yeah. Bring sunscreen, bring a fan, drink a lot of water.
Yep.
Rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all you need to know. Okay, the first thing I want to just say before we get into the weekend itself was that we got a Instagram dump from Yuki that included the most iconic Max Verstappen photo of all time.
It's perfect.
Which it's like, thank you, Yuki.
Yeah.
Thank you,
He's
Yuki.
like filling the void that Pierre has left behind a long time ago.
Yes. And also someone messaged us and they were like, this was exactly what you guys were talking about when you mentioned before that Red Bull needed someone that was going to match the freak.
Totally.
And
you're
Yuki
so right.
is able to do that, you know, which I think is great. Or he's at least able to capture the iconic moments. So thank you for that meme, Yuki. We are so grateful for you.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. You know, this weekend wasn't the best for Yuki.
No.
As we'll get into, but at least he has a great Instagram dump.
Yes, he does. That was so good.
We also so we haven't talked in a while about Formula One since you were obviously gone, but there's been some rumors floating around about the potential of Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull.
Yes.
It all kind of started, honestly, with one Mr. Dr. Marco after last race. Basically, he was asked, what are the chances? I don't know if it was exactly this question, but something to the effect of, what are the chances of Max leaving Red Bull? And he himself said they're quite high, or he basically started the rumor by saying, yeah, we're concerned about Max leaving Red Bull. So then, of course, all the rumors start floating around. Where is he going to go? What would he do? When would he go? And then he was asked, of course, about it during the press conference this week by Crofty, and this was his quote. To Crofty, he said, quote, "No, focus on commentating. I'll focus on driving, and then you don't have to think about any other scenario," which is fine. Max never likes talking about the rumors, but it is funny that it, like, talk to your boy Helmut. Like, he was the one,
right?
He's running his mouth, you know. And if he was able to just shut down the rumors,
keep my wife's name out your mouth,
then there wouldn't be all these questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just sort of interesting.
Well, I just, you know, that's just such a classic. Keep to commentating, I'll keep to driving. Like, come on. I love you, Max, but
we've said this so many times, right? It's such a hard balance. The commentators, they have to ask the question.
Right. And you knew that you would get asked this question because your PR person told you that you would, because your boy is chatty.
Right. And also, it's not a super big... last weekend particularly was a rough weekend for you. I think there's, of course, when a dominant driver is struggling, people are going to say, oh my gosh, well, of course he's going to want to leave. It's a natural narrative, of course, right?
Especially when the guy on your team.
Right, and he's talking about it. Yeah, exactly. So it's just very funny. But anyway, maybe after this weekend, those rumors will quiet down. We'll have to wait and see. Yuki crashed in FP2.
Yes, he did.
That was a tough one. It's a
real bummer.
But you know what? At least it was FP2.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really end up mattering much for his race itself. But
I forgot how quick this track is.
So
and just like
fast.
that, it's so tight. It's so scary to
So
watch.
tight.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is pretty impressive. I also just wanted to say that I loved Bernie. I love her as the pit lane commentary.
Yeah,
I love
she's
her. I love
fantastic.
getting her insight. I really do enjoy
Yeah,
her.
her voice is also just so soothing.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of whenever she's fully in the commentary during the race weekends.
Mhm.
Okay, should we get to qualifying?
Sure.
So I did just want to point out that we did find out after this weekend that Lance Stroll has the unfortunate honor of holding the record for the most Q1 exits ever in F1 history at 75 Q1 exits.
Oh, goodness.
Now,
I don't think I was aware.
yeah, they shared that after qualifying because he was out in Q1.
Uh-huh.
And, I think there's a lot of jokes being said about it. It's ripe for people to just be like, ha ha ha, or
Sure.
whatever. I think obviously the reality is it doesn't mean Lance is the worst driver in Formula One history.
Right.
Because for example, if you're I'm just speaking of drivers in recent memory, if you're a Logan Sargent,
Sure.
if you're a Nicholas Latifi, you're only getting a couple years in Formula One.
Totally.
You're not, you don't have the luxury of having multiple years in Formula One.
Yeah,
so
a lifetime guarantee.
the worst drivers are in and out like that,
Quick,
you know? They don't get the chance to stick around. So Lance,
he's a special circumstance.
he's got he's had a very long career in Formula One. I mean, I think his first season was 2017. So he's been around for a long time. And obviously the longer you're around, the more Q1 exits you're going to have. I don't know how many Lewis Hamilton has, but I'm assuming it's a lot more than, Nick DeVries.
Sure.
And that's just because Lewis has been racing for a long time.
It's just a math thing.
Right. But it is funny because Lance was asked about that. And I believe this is a true quote. I saw it like on Autosport. I'm like 99% it's true. But if it's not, it seems like it almost wouldn't be true. But I think it's true. But he basically said, well, yeah, I mean, if the two McLaren drivers were in the Sauber for 10 years, they would have the most Q1 exits. But it's like, but Lance, you're not in the Sauber.
Right.
So that's a weird comparison.
It is a weird comparison, but I also get what he's saying. Like, for a lot of years, he was in a bad car.
Kind of.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the first year that he was in the Williams, he got a freaking podium. Like,
oh, that's true.
He was it wasn't a great Williams car necessarily, but it did have some moments. And then he's been he was in the Racing Point car, the pink Mercedes that did quite well.
Yeah.
And he's been in the Aston Martin that like got all those podiums with Fernando. So it's like,
yeah,
I
mean, yeah, it's a wild thing to say.
He's been in a solid midfield car a majority of his career. So I don't know. It's just funny. It's just funny.
It was interesting. And I mean, like, let's just call it what it is. He's the longest standing paid driver of all time.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
Well, right.
Yeah.
In our tenure here.
That's the reality is,
Yeah.
of course, with Lance, there are extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And for better or for worse. And we said this, I think, a couple weeks ago. Like, Lance has been pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, not so much this weekend. But, he's not.
And look, I mean, there's so much time to fill. They have to come up with these really dumb stats.
Innocuous stats.
Yeah,
right.
that are just like, you'll never believe this. It's like, well,
Right.
of course. And then, of course, it becomes a topic of conversation. And
yes.
yeah.
It's just,
I mean, and I
wanted to
feel
point
for
it out.
Lance because I feel like, it's just always how
always-
does it feel to suck?
Yes.
Like, that's basically the question they ask him. It's like, what's it like being the worst? And it's like, well, you'd be the worst too if yeah. So I get it. Like, it's annoying after a while. It's kind of
Totally.
like the max of like, why don't you just stick to your gig? I'll stick to mine.
Right, exactly. I did laugh that Emma from Track Talk, she
God love her.
posted on Instagram that she had been texted that like 5 different times.
I
Like,
bet.
people,
God.
so
It's like,
we're thinking
people
of you,
love
Emma.
rubbing salt.
We're
in the
thinking of you,
wounds.
Emma.
Yeah.
At least, as I always say, at least he's still in Formula One.
And will be until he doesn't
Can't
want to
be
be.
said for everyone's
Yeah.
faves, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, okay, not a lot, not anything super exciting in Q1, unless you have anything you wanted to point out.
Well, this was not really part of qualifying, and I don't know whose car it was, but when the tire blanket on the Alpine was
Pierre.
was it Pierre's?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for
Yeah,
everyone
it's like,
involved.
what was going on there?
Goodness me.
In Q2, I was very shocked that Alex Albon went out for his final lap in Q2 very early, which then basically I think he qualified, P11?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't get, it wasn't the best opportunity for him to actually get into Q3. But I do want to shout out Liam because he out-qualified Isaac. First time he's out-qualified his teammate this season.
Mm-hmm.
So positive step forward for Liam Lawson.
Yep.
Anything else from Q2?
No, but do we know why? Did they say why Albon went out so early?
I wondered if they were worried about
safety car. Or
like a red flag
That's kind
or
of what
something.
I figured, but yeah, it's a bummer.
I don't know. That's always the gamble that you take. So, all right, Q3. Whew. Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. And he's just one, like, if you care about Lando at all, when he makes an error like that, it just really breaks your heart because you know he's going to think about it for the next, like, 6
what did
weeks.
he say? He said, like, fucking idiot or something like that. I was like, oh, my gosh.
He's like, yeah, I'm all right. Fucking idiot. And I think for me, too, when it's like they keep their microphones on to say these things, I'm just like, you also just need people to bring you back up. Yeah. Well, you need to get it out, but then you also need Will to just be like, it's all right, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
It's so hard because I would feel the exact same way as Lando. I would love to think that I would be an Oscar, but I don't think
I'm not
I
an
would
Oscar.
be an Oscar. Or maybe I would partially be in certain ways, but in terms of the anguish or the, like, being hard on yourself, I relate much more to the Lando Norris experience.
Yeah, it's same.
And it's just so tough because this is what's so hard about Formula One is that narratives get created,
Totally.
right? Storylines build.
Right.
Even if it's worthy of being a storyline or not, it still is created. And there has been a storyline that has been building around Lando about the championship and will there be a fight for the championship? And then for this to happen, it was just really tough. I'm also going to get back to later Sebastian Vettel and what Sebastian Vettel said about him, but I'll come back to that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, even in Drive to Survive this season, like so much of like Lando's part of the story was like how much he gets in his head, and that just sucks.
But I also appreciate about him and what he's always said is, I want to win the way that I am. I don't want to force myself to become a Max Verstappen or an Oscar Piastri or Lewis Hamilton or somebody else. You know, I want to be who I am, emotions and all, and still win.
Yeah.
And he definitely can. He has the skill, the capability. We saw it today in the race, but it was just, and I felt so badly for him, but I think as a tortured F1 fan for so many years, I felt for the Lando Norris stands.
Yeah.
Because I know how that feels.
Totally.
To just be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like and it's like one of those things where so much hinges on it and you just are left feeling like,
damn it.
It's just, it truly ruins your
Sucks.
whole day,
Yeah.
your weekend, or it has the potential to. It's just not a good feeling.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of all the Lando stands. And it's also hard too. Well, you are more of a Lando fan than Oscar fan, right?
Yeah,
you would say. Because it's also hard for me too in this battle because I really am a fan of both McLaren drivers, but I am more of an Oscar fan. So it's like that classic. It's what I had with Daniel Yuki last season where it's like I love both of them, but in a way you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And especially if you're fighting for a championship. And so it's just I've always felt very not conflicted, but sort of like I don't know how to reckon with the two feelings in a way. It's just a weird weird. And I would love to know what other McLaren, like if you like both drivers but you have one that you prefer over the other, how do you, because I really haven't had to deal with that with like Lewis and Charles yet, which has been good for me. Yeah. But that emotional feeling of like you do like one more than the other because we all do. Yeah. But then I don't know. It's just tricky.
How do you reconcile that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a weird one. I think it's for me. It's hard because I feel like I like them both equally on the track, but like I feel like
Yeah, you're more
I'm
connected
more
to
of a
Lando.
fan of,
Yeah.
yes, I don't know why I was trying to make it sound like more cerebral than that. And so I think it like breaks my heart for Lando in a way, and also because I think if something like that happened to Oscar, he'd be like really annoyed. But at least on the outside, he would just move on from it, kind of. And I think he probably on the inside too, he would just kind of like move past it. And whereas like I was worried all weekend that I was going to stay in Lando's head.
Well, and also Lando himself has a lot of people who love him, but then he also has a lot of people who root against him.
Totally.
And so then when these things happen, it
Fuels
creates
the haters.
Yeah. And it's the pile on thing. And I mean, that happens for lots of these drivers, but there's also that element to it where it's like, I mean, and again, I relate to that where it's like one bad thing happens and then everyone's like, see, I told you he's washed or whatever. And it's just like,
totally.
You don't really know. So anyway, tough for Lando. That was tough. Max freaking Verstappen again.
I know.
Just getting that pole. I didn't actually see it in the lap itself, but I saw some people talking about how they think Yuki might have given him a bit of a toe during the lap, which obviously I think made a difference because he beat out Oscar by 1/100th of a second.
Yeah.
So
I know,
shout out to Yuki.
Close one.
Very, 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 very tight. I mean, Max again, he's great. Again, I mean, I still don't know where to put that car. Like I don't
either.
It's so confused. I feel like it is very track dependent. High speed corner seems to be a better circuit for them. Like a Japan, like a Saudi, maybe. Like I would venture to believe that maybe Monaco, I wonder if they'll struggle more in a Monaco. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still don't really know where to put it.
Me
I was
neither.
happy for Yuki that it got into Q3 again.
Yes.
I mean,
For what
small
that was
wins
worth.
here, small wins.
Yeah. Maybe it would have been better if he didn't.
Maybe would have. Though you could say he helped the team a bit more if he was able to give Max that toe.
True.
So who knows? But also wanted to shout out Carlos getting into Q3, out qualifying Alex again, which I think they've both been doing very well. But Carlos had a bit of a struggle at the beginning, and so I'm happy to see him he seems to have found more confidence and just
he looks really good in blue too. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I mean he looks
good in everything, but
yeah,
I don't know. I turned on. I think it was maybe FP3 for a little bit. Who cares? It was one of the practices. And he was just like sitting in the garage eating probably oatmeal or something gross and just looked like a stunning human being. And I was just like, if someone caught me on camera when I didn't know eating, that's not what I'd look like.
But it's funny because sometimes Carlos, it could go all sorts of wrong.
100%. And it's usually when he's in a picture that he knows is being taken that it goes wrong.
I did see a video or like a clip of Kimmy just eating ice.
Sure.
Out of like it looked like it was oatmeal, but it was like pebble ice.
Yeah. Like with a spoon?
Yeah, with a spoon.
Yeah.
Like just trying to stay cool.
He's a doll. I just love him.
What a gem.
Truly.
And shout out to Kimmy. I feel like we were acting like he's just not even, I don't even associate him with the rookies anymore because I'm just like, he's right there with his teammate yet again, but he's pulling it off every single time.
I know. I just feel like and maybe it's just because there's not a lot of like quote unquote excitement going on, but there's just so little commentary on Mercedes at all, but they're just always right there.
They're solid. Well, today it was a little rough. I would say George kind of, but yes, they have been solid. They've been the second fastest team consistently over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. We haven't heard really from Toto at all, or at least I don't feel like I really have see much of him around.
Hope he's doing well.
It feels like this season is weirdly, well, it shouldn't be weird, but it feels like it's a McLaren Red Bull. That feels like the big narrative.
Yeah, for sure.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
That seems like what people are talking about the most.
Agreed.
Anything else from qualifying? So great job by Max. Obviously Oscar, strong lap, P2. And George P3, which was obviously great for George. He's been right there every single week.
Yep.
Just putting in solid laps. Where did Lewis end up?
6.
Okay, I was worried for him for a bit. It seemed like he was struggling out there, but 6 was not so bad. And also, I want to give a shout out to Pierre Gasly.
Yeah,
he's doing some solid work.
He really is. He's doing great. Well,
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Well,
and to be fair, what happened later, he still did good work in qualifying.
Of course, yeah.
That should not be ignored.
Things.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's just get right to it then, because the race begins.
It sure did.
And
started quick too. I feel like they were all lined up, and then all of a sudden, just lights went out.
I didn't feel that way. I was feeling like it was taking forever.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, the formation lap. It was just like anticipation, building.
Sure.
So yeah, they cut to 2 cars into the wall. Well, 1 car very into the wall and the other car TBD. Who is it but Yuki and Pierre? My heart
just truly
shattered.
Devastating for like
So many reasons.
so many reasons. Because was it? I know it's turn 1 incident, but was it technically Yuki's fault?
I don't think
Pierre's
so.
fault?
I think it was genuinely just a racing incident.
Yeah,
I don't think
okay.
it was really anyone's fault, at
Okay.
least from what I've seen. That's
Yeah,
what people
okay.
have been saying.
But yeah, I mean, it was just tragic, really. I mean,
So many. It was as my dad said, because my dad was of course devastated, and he said, "This is we both said it actually at the same time. Like, this is Romeo and Juliet."
yeah, yeah, it really
It's
is. And that's poetic.
It's really, that's what it is. These two
Yeah.
people who love each other so much, and I just wanted to
They just
see.
can't be together.
I just wanted to see some, because they got shots of both of them walking
Yeah.
in the paddock, and I wanted a shot of them like embracing. Or
Well, hopefully Yuki will
some-
deliver in the photo dump.
Yeah, I would love that. Or I would really love a combined post.
Ooh, nice.
That's what I would really love if they would
like a
provide.
don't worry, we're self BFFs.
Yeah,
kind
like
of a-
something, maybe Yuki on Pierre's back, or
Yeah,
just
sure.
something cute.
Okay, well, admins, do your
Some
thing.
warm embrace or
Yeah.
something. I would love that.
Yeah.
And I saw Pierre say after the race that he said something like, "I know Yuki's intentions. I know he didn't mean to do anything. Of course not. Like, if there's one driver that
And Yuki knows Pierre would never harm him like that.
if there's one driver that he does not want to upset, it's
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, of course.
Like, well, maybe right now it's Max, but
yeah.
he is his ride or die.
Yeah, he really is.
So-
it's just so sweet.
And I don't know if you watched the grid walk before the race, but Flavio said he believed they could have gotten P6. So I'm sure
yeah.
he was devastated too. But
Flavio.
it was tough, and it was weird that was the only incident.
I
only
know,
safety
I was
car. I was
surprised.
expecting another one, but
Yeah.
and so I think were lots of the drivers.
Yeah.
And then so kind of simultaneously we had the Pierre, Yuki, and then we had the Max and Oscar battle.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar seeming to come, kind of catch Max into the first corner. Max has to go off the track to basically keep the lead, comes back onto the track. In my mind, pretty clear that Oscar had the right to the corner.
Yeah.
And Oscar and Max overtook him off the track. And, there was a whole debate about, is it better for Max to just take the 5-second penalty because you're in clear air? You
Mhm.
can just try to get ahead, or is it better for you to give the place back right away? Hindsight 2020, I think it probably would have been better for him to get the place back right away, because he only ended up behind. I think he was 2.6 seconds or something, less than 3 seconds behind Oscar at the very end of the race. So you factor in that 5-second penalty, and you tell
2.8.
yourself, well, maybe that wasn't actually worth it. But on the other hand, maybe in a different circumstance, he could have pulled ahead a lot more in that clear air and could have gotten that gap. I don't know. Ultimately, Oscar had the faster car.
Sure. My whole thing is just the penalty alone is annoying to me. Like the penalty should be he has to give the place back.
Yeah,
Isn't that the rules?
So that's the thing. Yes and no. I
This
think
is why that's just the whole thing.
I think
There's no
what's
clear guideline
hard
here.
is oftentimes in the race itself, the team will tell the driver, give the place back so you don't get the penalty. But I think part of it was because it happened right away, and then there was the safety car, and then everyone was bunched up.
Yeah.
I don't know that they then necessarily wanted to give the place back because
Sure.
there wasn't any gaps, and it would have been, I don't know. And then at that point it's too late,
Sure.
know? So I don't know what I know that they discussed that on the commentary. Like, I think Martin said he wished that the stewards would have just said, give the place back,
yeah.
rather than the penalty. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert and then I have all the answers.
Well, I mean, let's just call it what it is. If the opposite had happened, there's a good chance that the McLaren would have also just waited for the 5-second penalty and stayed in clean air.
And they would have probably
Yeah.
been, but they probably had the car to actually make that worth it.
yeah.
Sure. So I don't know. We will get to Max at the end of the race. He didn't seem too happy, but I don't think, in my mind, I feel like Oscar had the faster car, was the faster driver just because he has the faster car at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like Red Bull can be too upset about the outcome, but we'll get to it. we had the Lando Lewis battle that Lando kept overtaking Lewis and then immediately getting into DRS, and then Lewis overtake Lando. It happened like 2 times.
Yeah.
Like, Lando, just wait.
Yeah. Do it
wait
in
your
a different
turn.
place.
Yeah, like wait to overtake in that DRS zone so then Lewis can't get you back again. I feel like that kind of wasted him a couple laps. I wanted to know, like, I wanted a radio at that moment between either Lando or Lewis to be like, what's he doing? But whatever. He ended up getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
I love Alex's radios.
Oh, he is getting feisty.
I love it. I am
do too.
so here for it.
Because it's how I speak to people.
Yeah,
like, do you not
100%.
understand? Like, do you not see the people behind me?
I need.
Just wanted to make sure that you saw that too. Are we not thinking about that? I'm like, wow. Is that what I sound like sometimes? I really
for
should.
it.
It's so
He's
good.
really turned it up a notch.
I know.
I think there are people who think that the sassy radios from drivers are like whatever. I think there's some people who don't enjoy them, but to
Tough.
me it tells me this driver cares. This driver is in it to win it. They're locked in, and they want their team to know, like, pay attention.
Yeah.
Lock in. So I was enjoying that.
There's someone behind me.
It's so funny.
So good.
I also wanted to shout out Oscar's really nice overtake on Lewis.
Yes.
That was very, very nice.
Oscar's a fantastic driver.
I just love him.
Yeah.
I really do.
Love him.
Really do.
Yeah.
Lando was flying.
Yeah.
Getting through people.
Soaring,
picking
flying.
them off. Yeah, exactly. Was doing a very, very, very nice job. He had that little, we were worried that maybe he was going to get a penalty, but he was picking it up. And we'll get to his like final race in a bit, but it was nice to see him. He did obviously benefit from the fact that both Yuki and Pierre both DNF'd, and they were 2 drivers that were in front of him, so he didn't have to overtake those cars as well, but that's racing and that's how it goes.
Yep.
Fernando and Gabby.
I know. Stressful. I did think Nando was very like
it's because Gabby is his
I know
employee.
I don't think I knew that.
Or not employee, it's his client.
He manages Gabby. Yeah. And first of all, I love that we're calling him Gabby because it just
cute.
makes it so much easier, and it is very cute. But yeah, I was just like, oh, that was calm of you.
Yeah, I was just like,
like, whoa, that could have been really bad. I was like, okay. Like a mature grandmother now. Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
that's
how Fernando's gone soft.
Yeah.
That's how we know.
Yeah.
And then I was like in my notes about to be like, wow, Liam's having himself a good race, overtaking, and then he gets the 10-second penalty.
Yeah.
And he's had a number of penalties this season.
And forgive me, this was during the minor work emergency. What did he get the penalty for? I know I saw he got one.
It was for overtaking Jack off the track. It was people, I think I saw some things on social media, people asking, well, why did Max get the 5-second and Liam get the 10? They're a lot more lenient with the first lap. Than a lap, whatever it was.
Well, and it was like turn
40.
1, wasn't it?
Yes.
When that happened with Max and Oscar?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, that's why. And I don't think it affected Liam's race too much. I think he finished 11th and then dropped back to 12th with the penalty. So, it wasn't like he was in the points and then lost. That's always the worst. Mm-hmm. But he had a decent rate. I mean, Isaac beat him. Isaac got a point, which was great for Isaac.
Yep.
He's figured out his seatbelt situation. So
yeah, thank goodness.
Also, did you see the TikTok he did with Liam this week? The Stormy.
Oh, yes. So good. Honestly, I love that they're just using all of the Kardashian. Like, it's just a great theme.
It's so funny.
I'm sure it's great for them, too, because it's just easy. I really want them to do the... I mean, they probably won't, but the like, please stop taking pictures of yourself. Your sister's going to jail. Like, I just think that'd be amazing. But I can understand why they maybe wouldn't want to talk about going to jail. But that was just like one of my favorites.
That would be wait. So who would be? So wait, was it Kim?
Kim was taking selfies of herself, and Chloe was
Chris. And Chris said
it because I think Chloe was going to turn herself in for like her DUI. I think she had to do like an overnight or something.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I think Liam needs to be Kim.
Yeah.
And Isaac needs to be Chris.
Yeah. And they haven't done the I lost my diamond earring yet, have they? Because that one would be gold as well.
Oh my God.
Kim, there's people dying.
I lost my diamond earring. No, they They should do that. Oh my God. Free idea with the freaking fake marina in Miami.
Oh, yeah. So good. That would be amazing. Just like swimming on land.
Ow!
My diamond earring's gone. Kim, there are people dying.
That's so funny. Yeah, we should come up with
so
a list
good.
of all the Kardashian sounds we want
There's
them to
just too many
do.
good
There's so
ones.
many good ones.
And then they could really get some life with the Todd Crane stuff. It's me, Todd Cranes. Maybe Yuki could do a cameo as Todd Crane. I really shouldn't have this much knowledge about the Kardashians. But
it
here
would
we
be
are.
funny if they like fake prank called Red Bull.
Totally. Helmet, it's me. It's Todd Cranes. What the hell?
So funny. Oh my God. Well, they're a serious racing team. They can't be spending all their time doing Kardashian.
Yes, very serious.
bits. Hilarious.
So
we
good.
need the Kardashians to come through. One of them to show up and do some sort of content with them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Like someone needs to get on the phone.
Yeah.
We know that Kendall likes Formula One. She's been to,
Right.
I know that they're more like Lewis Hamilton fans, but you know, do what you can.
Yeah, please.
So anyway, that's Isaac and Liam's race. Okay, then I wanted to talk about Charles Leclerc overtaking George.
Yep.
And then his race engineer coming on and being like, "Nice job, Charles." And then, "Thank you, Brian." Did you hear that? Did you miss that? Oh
did miss
shit,
that.
you missed it.
I need to
it
go
was
back and do some other
so
rewatch.
Funny. It was so funny.
That is funny.
It was
I didn't
really good.
I didn't know his race engineer's name was Brian.
Yep, Brian.
Who did it used to be? What was his name? Zavi or something like that?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was great. And I was like, please get this podium, Charles Leclerc. Please get this podium, Charles Leclerc.
Minute.
And he overtakes George, and then you had Lando overtaking George, and then I thought, oh gosh, Lando's gonna overtake Charles Leclerc. And again, it goes back to the conflicted feelings.
Lando's gonna overtake Charles Leclerc.
I was so nervous.
Yes. But then he didn't.
Yes. And I felt so happy. It was a nice win. I mean, not a
Not an
figurative
actual win.
but I was happy for Oscar to get the win as well. But I was glad to see Charles Leclerc get that podium.
Me too.
And then we
He
had a little
needed
bit
it.
of Williams teamwork going on with Carlos keeping Alex in his DRS so that Isaac wouldn't overtake Alex. So that was, we love teamwork.
Yep.
Double Williams points. That's awesome.
Carlos likes that move too.
He loves that move.
He loves keeping people in DRS.
He loves that move. Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing it on purpose. That's the point.
He's a genius.
Yep.
So then obviously Oscar Piastri wins the race. He overtakes Max in the pit stop or during the pit stop, and just solid, impressive performance by him. He was upset about some red light flashing from some, I don't even know what it was.
That. Was it not from one of the cars?
It might have. No, I bet
something?
it's like something up, like a part. I don't know, something up above that resembled the red light flashing for a red flag. It is fun. I mean, I guess if you're driving like 50 times around, you're gonna just notice all the things.
Yeah.
But then Max was not all that
chipper.
He was not, and I really haven't seen Max especially the post race interview. I haven't seen him that way.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time that he was kind of that short. I mean, and I think part of it was just he just didn't want to get into the penalty and just didn't want to talk about it. He wasn't rude, I don't think, but he just was like, and even in the cool down room, he was pretty subdued. And then on the podium, he was like, we were all watching it to kind of see, is he going to spray? I felt like he was going to spray his team. He just takes the bottle, immediately drinks. He doesn't even spray, and he kind of stands off to the side. So, I mean, I get it. I think he probably felt like he really had a chance to win this race and that it was right there for him in his grasp. And I don't think he liked the penalty call. And I don't blame him. I mean, if I was in his shoes, I probably would be pissed about the penalty too.
Yeah, of course.
But also,
that's just how it goes.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles.
It's just how it goes. But I think for him, he's probably, it's got to be a positive sign at least that they were in the fight for the win. That they were.
I also just think it was a noisy weekend. Helmet running in his
Totally.
mouth, and he had to answer a bunch of questions he didn't want to, and then in the wake of all of that, he still couldn't get the win, and it's just annoying.
It's a lot, and obviously he wants to win. Like, I mean, they all want to win, so I don't blame him for that. Anything else from the race? I'm sure I missed some things, but
no,
nothing. Okay,
I don't think so.
I would say it was a decent race.
Yeah,
it wasn't like the best race we've ever seen. It wasn't
a full snooze.
Wasn't a full snooze. I mean, I did think that Bahrain last week was just like a very, very solid race, very, very good race, and I felt like this was not as good, but that's okay. It was fine, decent.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Piastri is now leading the championship.
Yeah,
the first Australian to lead the championship since 2010. Mark Webber briefly had that lead. So it's been a long time, obviously. And I think I actually took a screenshot to see the breakdown. So Oscar is currently at 99 points and Lando is at 89 points. So he's 10 points down, and Max is at 87. So they're right there.
There's going to be a lot of noise around Lando in Miami because it'll be his 1 year anniversary.
Yes. There's only 4 drivers who've yet to score points this season: Alonso, Liam, Jack, and Gabby. Tough for Alonso there.
That is tough.
But
every
that's pretty
team
impressive.
has points, though. Yes,
every team has points.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So kind of, we're in a battle. We are genuinely in a battle.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to our fan info, and then we'll get to the questions. Would you like to start? Or you want me to start?
I can start. So
Please.
I have 2. One's not really F1 adjacent at all,
Great.
and one is F1 adjacent, but also pop culture. T-Pain at Coachella was maybe, I know that this is very on brand for me, and I just it just gave me so much joy seeing that, and I'm just so jealous. You couldn't pay me to go to Coachella.
Really?
Truly.
Okay.
It's hot, it's dusty.
But that's what an F1 race is, Hannah.
Okay, but not everyone's hammered and on drugs and running around without clothes on. It's just not my scene.
It's not as lawless.
Sure. Yeah, that's such a good point. I mean, maybe in some of the corners, but not the ones we go to.
Some of the we will even to certain races too. But
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But I think it's also for me music festivals are really hard because I'm the loser that just wants to see the headliners. Most of the time I haven't heard of many of the other people. First of all, I'm pretty disappointed that his set was during the day because he definitely deserves to be a nighttime headliner, but maybe another time.
I don't think he necessarily battles Lady Gaga or,
Well, when I was in 7th grade, he did. Anyway, I just thought it was fantastic, and I would like him to do the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And then my other one is, and I hope I'm not stealing yours, but the Met is upon us.
The Met Gala.
And the Met Gala is upon us, and it's the first Monday of May. And I keep forgetting that Lewis Hamilton.
The Vogue cover.
Yes, and that's when I
Sublime.
remembered. Yeah, I mean, absolutely stunning. And I'm just really curious to see if / who other drivers go. That's not how English works, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you mean. Yeah, the Monday after the Miami weekend.
And it's a quick turnaround. Hopefully Lewis, they don't need any last minute things from Lewis on.
He said, see ya.
Yeah, he's I got work.
Very excited. Very excited to see what he shows up in. It's cool. It's just really fun.
I think I have a feeling he's going to. Well, maybe not, but I feel like there was a lot of that whole photo shoot had a lot of canes and stuff. I feel like he's gonna walk in with a sick cane.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he wears.
It's gonna be sick.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, my fan is Sebastian Vettel. Well, 2 things about him. One is he showed up in Saudi Arabia for the race for women, supporting women in motorsport forward. We had F1 Academy in Jeddah this weekend, which was great. Shout out. I did want to shout out Chloe Chambers. She didn't win either of her races, but she did get pole. I believe it's for the first time in her career. So
amazing.
Shout out to her. But he just is always supporting women. He's doing the work. He's there. He's using his voice. Love him. Just king behavior. And then of course he's asked about Lando Norris, his whole situation.
Sure.
There's a interview clip that's gone kind of viral of him saying, emotions are good and you should have emotions and you shouldn't be afraid of having emotions, and that he reached out to Lando. And I think Lando talked about, that he was grateful for Seb reaching out to him. And just.
I miss him.
I know. I miss him too. And then I saw that Helmut Marko said that he believes he wants Sebastian Vettel to be his successor at Red Bull. And I say, yes.
Well, yeah. But what an interesting choice.
Well, because he raced at Red Bull.
No, I understand that. I just
you don't
think
think
that
Sebastian Vettel
they're
would
quite different.
They are quite
personalities.
different.
I just
they're
think
very different.
it's interesting to me that Helmut would want someone like Sebastian to fill his role.
Sure.
Because what Seb's not going to do is run his mouth about his current driver. And that's great. I think that's good for change.
That's what they need.
Yeah, I think that's really good for change.
And you know what? Helmut Marko can't necessarily always pick the right drivers, but I think if he's nominating the person to replace him, it's a strong
we should really
candidate.
Respect that.
Yeah, and I think Sebastian Vettel should seriously consider it.
Well, I think he's probably going to mention that a couple things have to change before. I don't know. I don't know what, but I imagine that there will be a couple things that would need to change for him to accept.
Non-negotiables.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just love seeing him this weekend. Love seeing what he had to say about all the different things. And
I hope his bees are doing well.
Yeah, I hope he's just enjoying his own life. And we miss you, Seb.
Yeah, we missed you a lot.
We
just didn't get enough time with him, like with many of the others, but we really didn't get enough time with him.
No, and I do miss the primetime Sebastian Vettel when he was just like really, he was menace adjacent. You know,
yeah.
he was on. I think he also softened in his age and as he got older,
parenthood and
became more. But. Yeah, I just love him.
Yeah, we love a menace.
We love a menace. Gone soft.
Ally.
Your foe.
Well, I think again too, Pierre and Yuki. That was just pretty devastating.
That's mine.
But I thought, and I don't know. I feel like it's probably polarizing. Some people really like it. Some people probably didn't. I didn't love George's Xenon jacket.
Okay, so that's become a topic of discussion.
I figured it had.
Because it seems like every race weekend, what I've heard is there's only one.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that's actually true because it seems like it would be hard but that George and Kimi share the jacket. I have to imagine there's more than one, also because the size.
Well, I just think it's also silly that we're asking these two drivers to share.
I know,
jacket.
but it's a cooling jacket.
Oh,
so it like
okay.
you wear it in the heat and it like cools you down.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
So it's not for aesthetic reasons.
It's not for aesthetic purposes, no.
Okay. Because I was just like, George is usually pretty good about stuff like this, but this is crazy.
I saw a clip of Kimi. I think it was before the driver pep rally, as Hannah likes to call it.
That's what it was.
And Kimi was wearing it. And I'm not sure if it was the Merc admin or some admin asked Kimi, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to go to the moon. And then they're like, yeah, he's going to NASA or something. I was like, and then I saw actually see on the internet, Kate and Nicole said, oh, okay, Katy Perry.
Yes.
They shared that, which was very funny.
That was very funny.
Because I don't even want to get into the freaking Katy Perry going to space thing, but it's freaking ridiculous.
Did I send you? I think I saw it on TikTok. It was just a video of like,
Xenon.
Send like Katy Perry's the first pop star that goes to the moon, and it's a picture of Xenon and Protozoa being like, I'm sorry, are we just rewriting history now?
It's freaking ridiculous. But anyway,
so curious. I heard Kendall's going soon. Kendall Jenner.
Great. So I think it's to keep them cool.
Got it. Well, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah. Yep. My foe is obviously Yuki. It was just, you never want to see a DNF, and you certainly don't want to see it like that.
No, two besties DNFing together. I mean, it's horrible.
It's tough.
Romeo and Juliet, as you mentioned.
It's a tough way to go out. Okay, let's get to some of your questions. Okay. What would you rather see this year? The championship battle come down to the last race, or Yuki gets his first win?
Yuki gets his first win.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know that I could handle the anxiety, and you we would have a really hard time watching that final race. It does depend
who the final two are.
Yeah, that's true too, but they didn't specify, and so I think it'd be really stressful. And in my scenario that I just built in my head, it's Oscar and Lando, and that would just be really traumatic, I think.
It would be very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, obviously, I'm going to pick Yuki. I'm a lot more biased than Hannah is, and that just would heal all of my past traumas.
Yeah.
Formula One traumas.
Yeah.
So I would be just very happy about that.
Great. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Okay, so thoughts on Max's penalty versus Lawson's, was it not the same? I mean, yes, but different time of the race, and they take that into account. How do you feel about Oscar leading the World Driver Championship?
I'm excited.
I'm excited, but it's also still very early.
It's still early.
very
I
early.
think that's what, like, you know, again, we've said it a million times before, but the memory in Formula One is so quick and short. And I think it's funny that, like, yes, he's leading technically, but like when you actually look at the numbers, he's only up by 10 points.
Right.
That's 180 next week. So,
it's an Oscar, P10.
Yeah, but I'm
Lando
excited
victory.
how much it's changing. I
Yes.
think that part of it is exciting. Like,
Yes.
You
Yes.
just kind of never know where we're going to end up.
I think the time in which it gets more if Oscar goes into Miami and he wins in Miami,
Yeah.
and then he win, and we said this early on. Actually, I think in our predictions episode, it's going to be about the driver that continuously finishes that P2, P3. Yes, they have to get wins, obviously, but it's just the consistency because it's going to come down to. I mean, George is technically in the fight still.
Yeah.
There are these other drivers who. Yeah, they're a ways back, but it takes one upgrade or a couple of races to change the tune and things can, shift very fast. So
do you think Isaac, not talking about Isaac, Oscar would shed a tear if he won the World Driver Championship? Like just one.
That's a good question.
I really just I was just trying to think about if he did win, what his reaction would be, and I feel like this would be it. Woo! And that's that might even have been a little too pitchy.
I think he would be excited. I think
and that's the thing. It's just the way he emotes.
Right.
I think internally he's buzzing.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like
I think he would shed a tear. Now, would it be on camera? That's the question.
That's a good point.
But I think he would be emotional.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't see how you.
Can't keep all of that inside. Yeah, I don't
It's
either.
just too much to carry. Will Papaya switch their tune and support OP for World Driver Champion or dull his shine for Lando's sake? It's way too early for McLaren to be doing any sort
but
of.
They could quite literally go either direction. I think it just depends.
Yeah, I mean it's way too soon for them to be like prioritizing a driver over the other driver. I think when that would potentially happen would be after the summer break, depending on the point spread.
Yeah.
But if it's close between Oscar and Lando for the majority of the season, I don't think you can necessarily prioritize a driver because it's just not. You have to wait to the point in which the other driver is no longer a contender.
Right. Well, and that's been their party line this forever is like, we don't have a number one driver. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, you can't change your tune now. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
So, and again, as an Oscar fan and a fan of both of them, I only want them to prioritize one or the other if it's clear that the other one is no longer in contention.
Correct.
Then, I guess it could be, it's the part where it would be tricky, obviously, is like if one of them is technically in contention, but Max is right on someone's heels.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes, then do you give up both chances and then let Max go through? So, but I still think it's way too early to make that kind of decision.
I mean, the other thing that's really difficult about it is it could get to a point where we're down to both McLarens to winning. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That would stress me out.
Yeah. How are you coping after Yuki's DNF? I mean,
I'll be fine. I just was like really upset.
It was just tough. And it's tough. I mean, a DNF is hard no matter what. But for Yuki, especially right now with the pressure and the Red Bull expectation, he just needed I think he needed some more positive weekends ahead of him. He's going, I don't know if you heard, he's doing a private Silverstone test, I think next week in an old Red Bull car just to get kind of more familiar with the Red Bull, which maybe will be good for him. I don't know.
Nice of them to offer.
Yeah. But so we'll see. Okay. Gabby is managed by Fernando. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was news to me, to be fair.
I'm
all tangled in my cords here. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, this is a good one. How many more laps needed for Lando to get Charles, do you think?
Oh,
it was close.
I'm not a girl who knows the answers to those questions.
I think it would have been like a couple more laps, and Lando would have caught Charles Leclerc. He was on fresher tires. Obviously, probably had a faster car. So Charles was lucky that it ended when it did for him, certainly. Not race specific, but is it just me, or is quali sometimes more exciting than the race?
Yes,
100%.
Sometimes it definitely is more exciting.
And you know what? I think that's really fun. I think it's fun that qualifying is just as enjoyable to watch, if not more, than the race.
Yeah, I agree.
And that you don't really know, that you go into a weekend and you think, is the race going to be the best?
Yeah.
Is qualifying going to be the best? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously we know Monaco qualifying is like the most thrilling because that's
is.
where you're going to end.
Yeah.
Unless you are Ferrari circuit.
Also, sorry I keep coughing. Arizona dried me out.
Oh,
My throat is so dry.
I can't. If I go someplace dry, my skin gets so tight.
Yeah, everything's
It's so
I'm
uncomfortable.
falling apart. But I'll be put back together by Miami.
That's good. Who is Max pissed at? Red Bull or Oscar? I don't think he's mad at Oscar.
No.
I mean, he might be like frustrated at the situation, but I don't think he's.
There's also been 100 scenarios in which,
Of course,
the role of Oscar and Max has been not with Oscar, but where Max has been in Oscar's position in those circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So he can calm down. And by the way, he's my favorite driver. So I don't say that because I don't like him. Just in case you're new and
first time watching.
Yeah.
Do you think Williams will continue on their momentum, or will they start to fall off?
My biggest concern with the Williams is that they bring an upgrade that's a downgrade.
Of course, it happens all the time.
I know, I hate that.
Yeah.
But because right now I feel like they're really on an upswing, and I'm just so thrilled for them.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens when those first major upgrades for most of the teams get introduced, I think, in a couple of races' time. It usually happens around like the 7th race. I think Imola is where a lot of teams will bring upgrades. And that's really when it's like, okay, is this team for real?
Yeah.
Or is this just a moment in time? We saw it last year with the V-Carb.
Yeah.
They were really fast, and then they had like just backwards momentum.
Yeah. And that's the worst.
That's the worst. I could see that happening for a handful of these midfield teams, that happens. And
yeah, well, I hope it doesn't happen to Williams.
Yeah, I don't want that happen either. Oh, okay. This is okay. We'll end here. The F1 discussion is over for now.
Okay.
Because I do want to talk about this because I've been on a journey.
Oh.
I haven't even told you this yet. Okay, so the question is, or the comment is, I know it was last week, but congrats to Alpine investor Rory McIlroy for winning the Masters.
Yes.
Okay, I've been on a golf journey.
Okay, congrats.
So again, like F1 conversation's over. Please don't feel like you need to stick around for this conversation. But I do feel like I want to share this.
Yeah, adjacent. I mean, it's adjacent to F1.
Well, yes. So
a lot
first
of our
all,
drivers
congratulations. You know, we love a F1 adjacent.
I watched the
connection.
Masters.
You did?
I
Okay,
did.
good.
Yeah, it made me so happy. Well, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched it the whole time on the plane going to Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I don't need to get into that story on here, but yeah, it was really entertaining, and golf is really fun when it's the last round of the Masters.
Of course, yes. So.
And go Rory.
Last week, okay, well, I mean, most people know that I have been a sports fan for as long as I can remember, but golf is one of the few sports in which it's always kind of been like my blind spot.
Sure.
It's never been a sport I've cared about. It's never been a sport I watched. It's never been a sport I played. I've always appreciated golf, and I always understand why other people like it, but it just never was for me.
Yeah.
I just never really, but because I'm someone who's chronically online and knows a lot about what's going on, I always was aware of, I mean, obviously I knew Tiger Woods, and I knew of the big golfers, and would know when the Masters was coming around or whatever. But anyway, so then the week before, I started to get content. You know, you get the content served, because I follow a lot of sports and stuff. It would seep into my algorithm, and was getting a lot of people being like, you know, can't wait for to take the best nap of my life this weekend when the Masters is on, or people being like, I'm always so
a damn good nap.
Nostalgic for the Masters because it reminds me of a kid watching golf with my dad, or you know, so I'm getting all that kind of content.
Yeah, because I feel like the Masters is on in almost every American. Well, you know, at least in growing up, that was the only golf tournament. That and Heritage were the only ones that were ever on my TV.
Got it. See, it was never ever on for me in my house,
Got
but I understand. And then you're getting, you know, certain people are there, influencers, celebrities. You're seeing some content. They have the par 3 contest the day before the Masters begins, where they all have their kids and stuff out there, and that always content generates from that. So then I was like, okay, you know what? I think
let's give
maybe
it a whirl.
This year I'll watch the Masters, and I was also getting a lot of the content served of you know, Rory McIlroy's never won the Masters tournament. He hasn't won a major in 11 years. Can he win it? Can he win it? Blah 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 blah. So then I was like, okay,
Love a story.
I'll go into this and I'll root for him to win the Masters. So Thursday, and as they always say, it's the best background show you can have on. So Thursday, Friday, while I'm at work, I have it on in the background. It's perfect. You know, it's quiet.
Yeah.
You listen to certain things.
Clap, clap, clap.
Yeah. There are definitely, I did watch a couple years ago, I did watch the first season of Full Swing. So I'm aware of a lot of the golfers, and there's certain golfers, I'm not going to really disclose here, but there are some golfers that I actually would, if I know if I met them in my life, I would hate them.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it offline.
I think most people could probably assume the ones I wouldn't like. But anyway, so we love a narrative, who you want to root for, who you don't want to root for. Like when you have kind of opinions or feelings, it obviously makes the experience a lot better. Didn't watch a lot on Saturday, but then obviously watched on Sunday. And it was, in case you didn't watch it, it came down to a playoff hole. It was very exciting. He wins. And I had this realization, it like clicked for me in my head. I was like, oh my God, this is the first time.
Are you going to cry?
No.
Oh.
You know what I'm going to say?
And they won.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Oh my God, it's happened for me.
That's so exciting.
I know. And
Your person won.
And I thought when he missed that putt on the 18th hole to go into playoff, I was like,
oh no.
Oh my God. Of course he's not going to win because I chose to root for him, and now of course he's not going to win.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I saw, and then I see a bunch of content from like men, whatever guys crying, emotional, because they've been on this journey.
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm like, I
get it.
I know what you've been through.
Yeah.
I feel it for you.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy that I'm such a bandwagoner, and I'm so thrilled to be a bandwagoner because I didn't have to endure the torture and pain that I'm sure that they felt for many, many years. But it felt good to root for the winner.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not like I'm going to scoff and start a golf podcast or anything. And I'm not going to be, someone that watches golf week in and week out. No. But I'll definitely be paying more attention to, and what's so crazy, it is so crazy how quickly I actually took a screenshot because I was like, damn, how quickly your algorithm, your For You page, Explore pages changes. Literally, look at this. Look at this is from last week, my Instagram Explore page. There's 2 other men on this page that are not golf related.
Oh my God. That's insane.
Do you see them? The 2 that are not golf.
Well, I'm trying. Oh, yes. Jonathan Bailey and Daniel Ricciardo. Well, at least they're still in there somewhere.
I was like, Jesus, it's weird how quickly that
changes.
It is. But anyway, so that was fun.
That was fun. I was so happy. I got obviously a little welled up because I cried everything now.
Of course.
But so happy for Rory. I was hoping that Niall Horan was watching live somewhere.
And I do just want to say, I do know the lore. Hannah and I, because, he was engaged to Caroline Wozniacki. And then they broke up. And Hannah and I actually saw Caroline Wozniacki play literally about a month after he broke off their engagement back in 2014. So we're part
of Wimbledon.
Part of that lore. And, there's also some other personal stuff. I know all the things, and I don't really care.
Well, because he's a pop culture person too. I mean, he's one of
the
those
who's
like broken the barriers of sport and pop
and
culture.
I've caught up now with I watched it this week, like in the background while I was working. I've caught up.
Oh yeah, I need to watch it. How many seasons are there?
3.
I think I watched the first 2. I love Joel.
Yes, yeah, he's one of those that's like. He's so not in the mix, and he's just like almost in a different category for me. It's you kind of have those people when you watch these types of shows.
Sure.
Anyway, that's my golf journey. So
congratulations. I'm really happy for you.
Thanks.
You've deserved it.
Thank you.
It's been a long time.
I really did. I really do deserve it.
Because it is different than like you picked the Chiefs a long time ago. Like the Chiefs were picked for you and then they've won.
Exactly.
Like, you were like, I'm going to root for this guy, and then he won. And that's amazing.
Yes.
Without really enough, time and stuff.
Exactly. Like it just feels good to win. So I know how you feel. I know how it feels. I mean, not really, because it's so like, but still, it was just nice to root for someone who wins. So.
I'm so glad for you.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Excited to be on this journey with you all.
Yeah.
I'll report back.
Okay.
Oh, and I was reminded, because I saw this like weeks ago, but then it kind of popped back up in my algorithm that he was asked, I think it was like a month before the Masters, some person asked him like what he did the night before to like unwind before the next day. He said he watched Devil Wears Prada.
Best friends. Okay.
So yeah, so that was nice.
What an excellent pre-Masters movie.
I know it wasn't before the Masters. It was for a different tournament. So that was a nice. That was we
love a man who loves the devil wears Prada. We do.
Yes, it's very
wow.
important.
And I'm sure you saw, but the video of his daughter Poppy putting tapping the ball and it going in was amazing. And then her just being like, I don't want to be here. Everyone's screaming at me. Get me out of here immediately.
I feel like I understand that. That would be very overwhelming if you're a kid.
Yeah. But some kids do. Some kids do
love it.
I think she was like, did it intentionally so it wouldn't go in, and then she was just like, well, this backfired.
Yeah, she has the genes.
Yeah.
All right, so that's really all we have for this week. We'll come back next week. Hopefully I'll do a question box this week to get your Miami GP questions if you have any, and I'm sure we'll find some other things to talk about.
I'm sure we
next
will
week as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, can't wait we'll be at the next race, which will be really, really fun.
That is really, really fun. I'm excited.
Very fun.
I haven't quite mentally gotten there yet, but I'm really looking forward to it.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel,
do it now.
Subscribe, comment, like, review us on Spotify, Apple, all the things. We love you forever.
I still think we can hit my goal by the end
Hannah's
of the year.
goal is 10K.
I think we're close to 6.
We're close to 6.
I don't know if it's close. It's definitely 5 point something. So
get us there.
Help us.
Help us.
We love you.
We'll see you next week.
Enchante.